All right. Hi, friends. We got Edgardo today. We
Hi,
got
everybody.
genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, Edgardo.
Not a billionaire
Yeah,
or a millionaire or
yeah.
a lot of money. No, nothing like that
But
yet.
soon, right? Soon. Right?
Yeah, soon.
So say hi to the friends.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
Yes. All right. So Ed, you have 3 AWS certifications, right? Can you tell us which ones you have?
Yeah, I have the Solutions Architect Associate, the Developer Associate, and the SysOps Associate,
Yeah.
which is like Systems and Operations.
And there are what, like 9 certifications total, right?
There's about 13.
Oh,
13.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you have
So
3 out of 5. I mean, 3 out of the,
correct. Yeah.
yeah, all 3 associate level.
Right. And
Yeah.
then there's 2 more professionals.
Hmm.
And then there are um, there are other ones that
Special.
are specialties. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
And
yeah,
so you did that in like less than 6 months, just about.
yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, I did that in. So I started studying for the certifications like in August. I took August 2018, so like around 2 years ago.
Hmm.
Um, I took my first one at the end of August. I passed it barely. So I think the pass mark is like 70, and I
Hmm.
passed it with 71. So if
But
I
you
had if I had gotten
that's fine. They don't care. You passed.
yeah
Yeah.
yeah no that I barely, if I had gone one question wrong, I wouldn't have passed it.
But
Um
that doesn't matter. The pass
yeah,
is
yeah,
the pass.
I know. Then again, I took another one the end of September, and so in the whole month of September I was studying for the solutions architect. Oh, so by the way, I did the developer, then the architect, and then the CSOPs. I did it in that order.
Hmm.
So by the end of September 2018, like around 2 years ago as well, I took the CSOP, the solutions architect, and I passed that as well. But I got like a 72, so I still wasn't like in the close to the benchmark. Um, they were really difficult. Honestly, they were really um, they had their complexity and their depth knowledge, especially like if you don't know anything about AWS before like right walking into them. And then lastly, by the end of October, I took the CSOPs. That one I got a higher score. I got like 80 something, and I felt a little more comfortable with it.
Hmm.
But I would definitely suggest or advise to take the Cloud Practitioner, AWS Cloud Practitioner certificate, which is a level below the associates. If you don't feel any comfortable with, taking the associates because they might look scary right away, which they honestly do. So yeah,
But you did those in less than 4 months. I said 6 months
yeah,
in about 4 months, right? So you went from no cloud knowledge to 3 certifications,
yeah,
four
yeah.
months. Look at you. You're a genius. That's why you're.
No. That's not necessarily true. No,
But how
no.
did you study though? Like, what was your plan for studying?
Yeah, no. I had a lot of time to study.
Mm-hmm.
um, because initially when I got hired by my previous company, um, they had me on training, a lot of training,
Mm-hmm.
and and that was pretty much my everyday train, like my everyday life, right? I came into the office, it's just like studying to pass the certifications, and the method or how I was able to pass those is by I watch a lot of videos on Linux Academy. Linux Academy is a great resource. I also watch a couple videos on A Cloud Guru. A Cloud Guru is also a very good resource. And also took a lot of practice exams. Honestly, like the practice exams are something that really helped me in preparing, because it gave me the pressure and it gave me the sense on how the exam was going to be. Um, I gotta be honest. Sometimes I study those questions instead of the actual content. So by the time I walked into the exam, I kind of like knew what the question. I knew the question before reading it because I had practiced so much already that I kind of like memorized it. But to be honest, the most correct way of doing it is to actually know the content, so that whenever a question changes, then
You
you know
know.
you might just know the actual the overall content of the question instead of just what the question looks like.
So, do you plan on going for any more certifications? So you have the 3 associate level. Are you gonna go for the professional?
Yeah, no, actually that's a different story because last year the beginning of last year 2019, I had my mindset to the solutions architect professional, and I took it twice last year, and unfortunately I didn't pass those 2 times.
Yeah.
And yeah, it
Talk about that. Talk about that because you will fail. Like these exams are hard, right? Like
absolutely the
failing
solutions.
to be expected.
Yeah, no, the professional is very, very, I mean, at least to me. For
Yeah.
to somebody else who has more experience or who knows a little bit more about AWS, might be a little easier. But
Mhm.
for me, it was very, very difficult because number one, the number of questions increase. So in the associate, there's 65 questions. In the professional, there is around 75 to 80 questions. And and then the number of questions doesn't like increase by that much, but the content, like it's the content of the questions is that they packed it with so much information that some of the information that they have in each question is just irrelevant to what the answers are, right? So you really have to be focused, you really have to be um,
Discipline.
concentrated.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then you also have to know the concept. That's the thing, like you cannot just study the questions or like study um, the repetition or the pattern of the questions. You also have to know the content of the of what they're asking you, because obviously if you're going to get certified to be a professional, they want you to know that like, all right, yeah, this is, I mean, if you're going to be a professional, then you should know what we're asking you.
So, what would you say to someone who's like they want to get into cloud, but they're afraid they're going to fail the exam, right? Because people are always afraid to fail stuff.
Hmm.
What would you say? Like, what would your advice be?
I mean, this is gonna sound very cliche, but just keep persisting, because
Mhm.
if you really like it, like I love AWS, I really do. Indeed, when I was hired by my previous company, and I got into cloud, it really taught me a different perspective of technology. Cloud just, it's not on the development level. It's you can, in my opinion, it's like a step above the development level, because it lets you analyze and understand all the different technologies that make up the code. Because one thing is that you can code, and then something else is that you can actually deploy the code to an EC2 instance or a server, and then you need to secure the code, and you need to load balance the code, and there are just a lot of things behind it, that cloud really teaches you. So if you keep failing, or like if you fail the first time or the second time like me, and just keep going at it. If you really like AWS, and if that's your passion, or not AWS but just cloud in general, if that's your passion, just keep working on it, and maybe someday it will work out.
But so you did not have a cloud background. So what was your background before cloud? Like what
Yeah,
was
so in school I was a programmer, so I essentially did my 4 years in Java, and and yeah, so before working for my previous company, I did not really know anything about cloud at all. So it was a little bit intimidating at first, especially because of the networking part, because I'm not really good at networking, or I wasn't at that point. I think I've significantly improved. Um, it was a little bit intimidating because, I mean, it was not only the networking, but also like handling the instances. You not only have to be I feel like the knowledge is more well-rounded. You have to understand different components of cloud if you really want to be a very good cloud architect or a cloud professional. So yeah, I mean, I didn't know anything about cloud before getting hired.
So you're a young person. Like,
Oh no, I'm not.
oh, you're so young. So this is just the beginning for you. So do you think you'll continue with cloud, or will you go towards like programming and DevOps?
So that's my focus actually. I love developing at the same time as I love infrastructure, and I really find my passion in the middle of both of them, of development and infrastructure, which is DevOps, and that's what it actually means, like development and operations. So I don't think I will leave cloud at any point. At least I don't think so. I will leave cloud, because it's so interesting, so powerful, and so unique, innovative, that anybody who likes technology should get into cloud.
Yeah. So do you have any side projects going on? You building any arc reactors or robots or?
No,
What are you
I'm not that
working on?
smart. No, I'm not that smart.
Yes, you
Although,
are. Why do you keep? Yes, you are. Oh my gosh.
no, I feel like, no, not yet. But if I really wanted to, then I would probably try,
So
because
humble.
it's all about trying. It's all about, maybe you don't know anything, or maybe you don't know a certain topic, but if you have the passion, motivation of doing it, then go ahead and do it. But yeah, I do have a side project now. I try to keep myself busy with technology. So I'm working on an application that essentially detects the motion of any type of motion in a certain space, right? So the use case for this is that in my previous company, we were like, the people who wanted to go to a phone room had to walk around so much to find a phone room.
Like a
And it was pointless, because like if you had a meeting or something, then you would end up coming late to the meeting, or you would end up like maybe skipping the meeting. And so it was really difficult to find a certain phone room. And also, those rooms were not scheduled, so you cannot like schedule it in advance. So me and other friends came up with this app, or came up with this project that would essentially detect if somebody is in a certain room. So if somebody's in a room, then you would be able to see through the app that that room is occupied, and then that would save you time to actually go to a room that you want to go. So I mean, that's still in the work in progress, but yeah.
That's cool. So, how do you keep your tech skills current? Like, how do you keep on top of what's trending and what's like in demand in terms of employment? What's interesting? Like, how do you stay on top of that?
Right. So in terms of employment, I like to think of it more like as a hobby than as a job, because if I start thinking of it as a job, then I just have the motivation to work. But I really love technology so much that I can do it anytime, whatever. So it's really something that I love doing. And the way I keep myself in the loop, or I keep myself busy, is working on the side project or on certain side projects. So the space application that I just talked about is one, but I have some other projects on the line, that just help me practice with different tools. Also, I recently started listening to a podcast, and it's called the Serverless Chat, and they just talk about like serverless technologies, and specifically about Lambda so far.
Can
And
you
then
briefly explain what serverless is?
yeah, sure. All right. So serverless is essentially, um, a server that doesn't have a server. I mean, like it's not a traditional. It's not like a traditional server that has a host. Um, Serverless just it's the I would say like it's the fastest way to deploy your code, because you just write code and then you just deploy it, and then you just run it and then it does a certain thing. So I can say that the difference between a normal server and a serverless server, or like a serverless function, is that a serverless function just accomplish one little thing. Like it does only one thing. Whereas a server, you have to maintain it, you have to patch it, you have to do all these things, that it's more like a yeah, that will, you could do certain things, but you also have to do something else. So I mean, it's a little bit it's not that complicated, but you really have to understand it to get around it.
So like a server, just for anybody who doesn't know, like anybody who's lost right now, a server is like your computer, right? So it's like a virtual computer that you're working on in the cloud, right? So
Correct.
serverless would mean that you're basically working outside of a computer. You're just
Right.
executing applications by themselves.
Right. Or we could also say, okay, so a server is your laptop
Mm-hmm.
and a serverless is your phone.
Oh,
So
that's cute. I like
yeah,
that. That's
yeah.
good.
I mean, like that's really. I mean,
But for
that's very
now,
basic terms speaking,
it,
but
it's good.
essentially that could be like the same. Like your phone is really powerful, right? That you can
So
make phone calls, you can text, you can do this.
make
It's the
videos.
same with your computer,
Yeah.
but your phone doesn't need like, well, it doesn't need like an antivirus,
Mhm. That's right.
or something like that.
Yeah.
So
You don't
yeah,
need to like run patches on your phone.
exactly. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess like in the job world, right? For people looking to, because of, the pandemic or whatever, they've lost jobs or they've been furloughed, and maybe they're looking to get into a job in tech, because that's probably one of the few industries that's still hiring. Like, what tips would you give people, on their interviews?
So I'm actually, um, I mean, the thing is that it depends on the position, right? That people are interviewing for, but if it's related to like programming, I would definitely suggest people to go and get experience with data structures and algorithms, because that's what they're all gonna ask. Like all companies that are looking for software engineers, you need to know data structures and algorithms in and out. Um, so that's something that I'm working on right now, and it could be part of my keeping up with my tech or with my skills. But if you are looking for something more like cloud or infrastructure, then it might be better for you to start practicing with AWS. Deploy a server and see how it looks like inside. And as I said, it might be kind of intimidating at first, but once you get the hang of it, then it doesn't become that difficult. Or yeah, so I think that in the terms of the technical side, I think that getting enough practice to do something um, will give you the skills for an interview. And in terms of the behavioral side, which is kind of like more tell me a little bit about yourself or things like that. And my suggestion is just to be natural, to yes, stay true to yourself, and just be yourself.
So what would you, I mean, data and algorithms, that all sounds so scary. So
Yeah,
what tips would you give someone who's like a entry level, this is their first job in tech? Like, what kind of interview tips would you give them?
yeah, that's if people want to go for the software engineering route. They might see this. I mean, they might see this in interviews, but they might not necessarily see it in a job. So it's one of those things that they ask for it like in the interviews, but when you actually get to the job, they like you don't end up doing it. Like you end up doing something else.
Right.
Um, But my tip is to actually go on LeetCode. There's a website called LeetCode, and the website gives you like problems. It gives you like coding challenges.
Mm.
And if you start solving one every day, or maybe like two every day, it might prepare you a lot for this type of interviews. And
You say the website again?
LeetCode, it's LEET code, CODE, leetcode.com.
Okay.
There's that website, and then there's also another one called HackerRank. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of resources out there that, but definitely practicing the coding challenges will give you enough experience with data structures and algorithms.
So you think it's important to kind of practice, work on things on the side, like have a side project that you can kind of bring to the interview and show, like, this is
Absolutely.
what I've been working on.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's not only practicing and understanding the interview. It's also, because I mean, at least to me, and when what I suggest is that you shouldn't treat this as a job, and like you should treat this as a hobby.
You
You
should
know,
like it. You should be passionate about it.
absolutely, absolutely. So the more you like it, the more you're gonna do it, right? And the more you're gonna do it, the more you're gonna showcase.
Mm-hmm.
So not only study or practice for the interviews, but also have like a side project, which is something that we talked about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it will be a showcase for you to say like, oh yeah, so I built this, and then people might say, oh, this is actually kind of interesting. Because let me tell you, like building something is just really hard, and it takes a lot of time, and especially if you're the only one doing it. But yeah, it is like, like Facebook wasn't built by Mark Zuckerberg alone. Like Facebook
Hello.
initially was built,
Hello.
yeah, like
Right.
Facebook was initially built like by 5-6 people, and just like tech is just complicated. It's really complex, and it takes a lot of times, and it takes like a lot, like you're gonna fail. You're gonna fail, but it
Talk
just
about
tests, yeah, it just tested you the persistence, how persistent you are. So
persistence.
so yeah.
Yeah. So you went to school, right? What was your major in school?
Yeah, so my major was information sciences and technology,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it was similar to comp sci or computer science,
Mm-hmm.
um, but there were some differences in terms of like more collaboration and yeah, things like that.
So do you think if you want to get a job in tech, do you think a college degree is necessary?
Not
From
necessarily.
from your personal experience.
No, not necessarily. I don't think a college degree um, is required, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that I heard this from somebody that um, there are people at Microsoft, at Google, that don't even have a college degree, and they get in, or like they get the job because they're passionate about what they're doing, and they really like what they're doing. In college, you take like a lot of, uh, I would say, kind of the most
Fluff,
like,
fluff.
yeah, like you can take
Time
classes
practice.
that
Yeah.
might not be really interested,
Mm-hmm.
or interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, like it's no, it's not necessary to have a college degree in order to go for a tech job.
So do you think it's worthwhile to, like, if somebody is kind of looking or they're lost in the pandemic and looking to switch careers, invest in certifications, like not necessarily go back to school, but try and self-study and get certifications?
Absolutely, I 100% agree. um I think that that's it's relatively cheaper than going back to school, obviously. School is very expensive,
Oh,
especially.
so expensive.
Yeah, so by the way, I'm not from the US, I'm from Venezuela. and everywhere else in the world, like it's not going to be as expensive as here in the US.
Talk
And
about it. Talk about it. Please.
yeah, so it's definitely cheaper from the money perspective, to go and take a certification, and it's also quicker. It's easier to get started. You can just sign up on a website, and yeah, so it's cheaper, it's quicker, and it might be more useful as well. Like you don't have to take, useless class, or not useless, but not necessarily interesting classes.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And I think they hold more weight a little bit too than the
Uh,
degree itself.
Absolutely, it could tend to hold more weight. Yeah.
Mhm. I mean, unless you're coming from like MIT or somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's
But like I do think the certifications hold a lot of weight.
no, I completely agree with you. I definitely agree with you. So, and it's also something that you could do, I mean, at any time,
Mm,
during this pandemic, like,
yes.
um, there's no like in-person classes.
Hmm.
So you can just pick up your laptop and learn a new skill.
Hmm.
So that's definitely something that'll be useful.
Hmm. Well, thank you, Ed. Ed is an office friend turned real life best friend, right?
Yes, yes.
So I got like some rapid fire questions before you leave.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
ready? Just don't even think, just answer. There's only
Wow,
like
no,
four. All right,
I have to think. I
ready?
think a lot before answering.
All right, so PUBG or Fortnite?
Fortnite,
What? All right, PlayStation or Xbox? The new one.
PS4, PS5.
Really?
Yeah,
No Xbox. Okay.
absolutely.
Steve Jobs or Elon Musk?
Jobs
Which one would win in a fight?
in a fight? I don't. No, I don't like fights. I don't.
Okay. Arm wrestle. Which one would win in an arm wrestle?
Um, Probably Musk. Yeah.
Smartwatch or regular watch?
Regular watch.
Yes, me too. Thank you, Ed. This was so
Thank
nice.
you.
So nice. Thanks, Ed.
Bye bye.
Friends.
Stay
See
safe.
you later. Bye.
Bye.